Okay, so what I want to talk about is basically the cycle for sales. I don't know, most of you know who I am. I've had a few sales in my time. So one of the big things that happened when I went from cleaning to dog wash, I thought this is going to be really simple. I'm just going to teach all of my franchisors just to do exactly what I did. And it's been really weird. So we thought we nutted this bit out, and we thought we nutted this bit out, and then we went, oh, hang on, there was this other part. So it's kind of like a big cycle. So I'm going to give you a bit of a talk through of the whole lot. But the most important thing, in my opinion, is your franchisee relationships. That is far more important than anything else that you can do in your business. So if you're spending a truckload of money on advertising and your franchisees are unhappy, you're wasting your time. Okay, my franchisees sell my business for me. Okay, you must get that relationship with your franchisees. And I quite often hear franchisors say, oh, but I call my franchisees and they don't call me back. That's telling you there's a problem in your relationship. I had 110 franchisees and I could call any of them at any time and they would always take my call. Because every phone call I created value, I had a really good relationship with them and they wanted to help me. So if you've got a truckload of franchisees running around that are all really, really happy and they love what they do, they've got a great income, what's going to happen?
They're going to sell for you.
They're going to sell it for you. They're going to be at the petrol station and someone's going to say, hey, what's Jim's dog wash like? And my franchisee is going to say, oh my God, it's absolutely amazing. I've got to get your phone number. Let me get Sharon to call you, because they also know there's a spotter's fee involved. Okay, and they're going to sell the business for you. Secondary thing that's going to happen is somebody that you've met with and is thinking about coming on board is going to see your franchisee on the road and they're going to say, what's it really like? Okay, and if your franchisee isn't happy, you're never going to get the sale. So you need to, and one of the other things is the pay for work guarantee. And pay for work guarantee is the single biggest tool you'll ever have in your business, ever. And it's so short-sighted to try and save $10 or $15 and not pay for work, because the first thing a new inquiry says is, tell me about pay for work, how did that work? And if your franchisee says, well, it was kind of shit, it didn't really work, oh, I swore, oh. It didn't really work, it was too hard and I couldn't claim, what's going to happen to your inquiry? But if your franchisee says, oh my goodness, it was amazing. For the first 2 months, I was able to claim pay for work, and from that I built up heaps of jobs and all this stuff, what's going to happen then? So more than anything that you ever do, don't ever, sometimes I pay for work when it's questionable, because, a couple of $100 or the relationship. You've got to be a bit long-term thinking. Does that make sense? Yeah. So the biggest, most important thing is the relationship. So there's a bit of a circle. Sorry. So the first of all is your franchisees, yeah, and the relationship, yeah? Relationship. Okay? So only when you get that right, and only when you get that right do you then start looking at the other stuff. So when you first start a region, the first thing you're going to do is get those relationships fixed. If your franchisees aren't calling you back straight away or aren't taking calls, there's a real issue there, okay? I once met with a franchisor who needed a bit of help in his region, and I said to him, how much are your franchisees making? And he said, well, I don't know. And he only had one, whereas I had 110, and I could tell you within a few dollars what every single one of them were making. Every single one of them. What was going on in their personal life, what they wanted to achieve in their business. I knew exactly where they wanted to be. If you don't know what your guys are making, how can you help them achieve their goals? Yeah. So you need to really have a really in-depth understanding of what they want and be valuable to them. Because if they're not taking your calls, you're not creating any value. If they don't come to your meetings, you're not creating any value. My franchisees 100% attendance at every meeting because it was valuable to them. Okay, so that's the first part of the circle. So it goes around in a little circle. The next one is then your advertising, yeah? Now, obviously, you're not going to get inquiries if you're not advertising. Yeah. I did a thing the other day, and I can't remember the exact numbers. I'm shocking with numbers. But just say your conversion rate is 1 in 50, okay? Just say it is. I don't know what it might be. How many inquiries do you need before you can get a sale? 50, obviously. And if you're doing an ad campaign that generates 3 inquiries a month, how long is it going to be until you get a sale? Okay, that's the reality of it. And this is what happens with franchisors. We do the same thing as franchisees. We sit back and we go, well, we'll wait for Jim to provide us with leads. Isn't that the most annoying thing that some franchisees can do? Well, Jim's not giving me work. And then we sit there and do the same thing, don't we? Yeah. So you have to generate that work. And we were just talking then about Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all of those social media platforms. They're amazing and absolutely you need them a lot, but don't underestimate what happens with your franchisee relationships as well and the referrals. I once paid a guy $25,000 in spotters fees. Okay? Yeah. He was out recruiting. He did a market stall. And I said, oh, that's great. You know, you can, have how many jelly beans and you can get a free clean. He said, oh, no, I'm just selling franchises. Okay. You want someone that's doing that for you. If every single one of your franchisees is a good advocate, don't underestimate that part of it as well. Okay. So the next is your advertising. So you need to have a think about your presence, I guess. And you probably have noticed Dog Wash is kind of everywhere. Do you all see our ads? Yeah. You want to be everywhere, every time. And so what happens is somebody goes, oh, I'm a bit fed up with my job. And then they drive down the street and they see Jim's Dog Wash trailer. And they go, oh, okay, maybe that's an idea. They go hop on Instagram, there's Jim's Dog Wash. They then hop on Facebook, there's Jim's Dog Wash. They go on Google, there's Jim's Dog Wash. We're kind of everywhere. So all this time, and they're going, oh, it must be a subliminal thing. No, it's not. We're just targeting you everywhere you go. And then they pull into a petrol station. They go, oh, to the franchisee, tell me about Jim's Dog Wash. And then these franchisees are going to say, wow, it's amazing. You guys need to come on board. And that's how easy it is. When I was really selling, I was selling 1 in 4. And that's not impossible to do, but it takes hard work and thinking and planning. But more than anything, you've got to get these first 2 bits right. If your franchisees aren't generating your inquiries and then your advertising isn't generating you enough inquiries, how are you ever going to get sales? And you might get a few, some will pop up that are just ready to buy. And that happens sometimes, very infrequently, but it does. But for the most part, you have to get out there and advertise and be known. Does that make sense? Yep. So advertising, I have to have a moment. I forgot what the next thing is. Anyway, okay. So advertising is really important. There's 1,000 different things that you can learn, Facebook, all of those things. When I first started, I had no clue and it was all trial and error. I couldn't tell you how many thousands of dollars I lost in Facebook until I worked out what's the best way to target, that sort of things. One of the things I do is a buyer persona. Have you guys had that at all in this training? Okay, so basically what you do is you pick your ideal franchisee. So it might be Mary in your region or Bob in yours, whatever. And think about that person and how you would reach that person with an ad if you wanted to attract that person again. So does Bob read the newspaper? Does Bob go to LinkedIn? Is he on Facebook? How would you reach him? And what kind of ad would really get his attention? So have a think about why Bob decided to come on board. So did he come on board because he was fed up with his job? Did he come on board because he wanted to be with his kids? All of those kind of things. And then when you do your pictures and your words and your targeting, you then target at what you've worked out with Bob. Does that make sense? Yeah? Yeah. So we had a late start, Joel, sorry. Okay, so your advertising. Your next thing is your calls. So I'm always surprised at people that don't call their people straight away. Who's been a franchisee before? Okay, so what are you told at franchisee training? When do you call your leads? And why do you do that?
Makes a better impression. Yeah, better impression, and it stops them from shopping around as well. More chance of getting it.
Yeah. So why wouldn't you call your franchise inquiries immediately? How much do you make on a franchise sale? Wouldn't you call them immediately? The second it comes in, immediately. Yeah, that is so important. And you might have a $60 toilet or a $80 dog or a $100 pool, I don't know. But what's your key role? What is your main role in this gyms?
Looking after franchisees.
To be a franchisor. And yep, that $60 dog can sit there for half a second while you ring up the inquiry. And I'll go through what you need to do next. But how important is that? I have had a franchise inquiry. I've called it the minute it hit my phone. I was in front of them that afternoon and I had them signed up by the Friday. okay? And that, if you do that, if you follow this cycle, and I'll go through it, that's how quick you can do it. And that's generally what I do. I can meet somebody on a Monday, have the meeting, the trial day, the finance, and have them paid a deposit on the Friday, booked into training at the next training. And it's all about, it's customer service first and foremost, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah? But also, what does it tell them about you? You care. You care, and you're efficient. If they ask you for something, you send it straight away. You get everything done, always keeping the ball in your court, which is always a good one as well. But you're always doing whatever you say you're going to do, and you move them through this cycle, which is, okay, so you've got your phone call. Okay, next is your meeting. So I get in front of my people as soon as I possibly can, within the same day if I can. And if that means, if you've got a region that's not in your area, it means you've got to get on a plane. You have to get in front of them straight away. That's so, so important. I've never sold a franchise to anybody that I haven't been in front of them immediately. Okay, so I have been known to be on the phone to the inquiry while I'm looking up Qantas for the flight so I could get there. Okay, it's really, really important, and you need to structure your day so that you have that ability to be able to do that. And I've seen people that try and change it around and they go, oh, well, I'll send them out on the trial day first. It doesn't work. Really, nothing, they buy based on you and your personality and who you are, okay? The brand helps, but it's you. So if you don't get in front of them and you send them information or you email them or post them something, you're taking that opportunity for them to get to know you. That's a tough one. You need to be in front of them immediately, as soon as you possibly can. And I'll ring them up. My phone call goes for about 5 minutes, if that. And it's exactly the same as when I do a lead. Hi, it's Sharon from Jim's Dog Wash. I just hear that you're interested in starting your own business. That's fantastic. I'm actually in your area on Tuesday and Wednesday. What day suits you best? So see what I do with the what day? You know, Tuesday or Wednesday, 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. Either answer I like, yeah? So I'm in your area Tuesday and Wednesday. What day suits you better? Or Wednesday, beautiful. 1 o'clock or 3 o'clock, what suits you better? Really good. Okay, so I'll just check your address and I'll see you then. That's it, that's the end of my phone call. And they'll say, oh, I just wanted to know how much. No problem at all. We'll go through that when I meet you on Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Oh, I just want to find out how much the fees are. No problem at all. We'll go through all of that when I see you on Tuesday. Yeah? And so if you think you haven't got time to put down your pool cleaning thingy-me-doover and make that 5-minute phone call, then maybe you're in the wrong business.
So
yeah?
essentially you're treating it as a lead.
Exactly, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same. As a franchisor, it's exactly the same as what you do as a franchisee. Exactly the same, okay? Are you told to give prices over the phone when you get a lead? No. So why would you do that when you're a franchisor? I had a discussion with a franchisor once and he had all the prices on the brochures that he'd send out to them. And I said, why would you do that? And he said, oh, because they ask for it. Okay, what are you told at training? They ask for that because they don't know what else to ask, do they? Okay, and if you give them the price, for the rest of the time you're speaking, they're going to think $50,000. I haven't got $50,000. I can't afford it. I can't afford it. And then you might as well not bother sending them anything. My inquiries get nothing from me until they meet me. Okay, if they just want an information folder, no worries, because I'm going to turn up and I'm going to deliver it at your door. Okay, they get nothing at all. Don't email them anything, because now they've got the email, they're going to be able to make their decision based on the information that you've given them, and they didn't get to meet you and see what a good person you are. Pretty important, isn't it? Yeah? So do exactly what you did as a franchisee. Can you do that? Okay, the next thing is the trial day. Okay, and this comes back, if you've got franchisees that aren't happy, you're in all sorts of problems here, okay? So I say to my franchisees at my meeting, I should have gone into the meeting a bit more, I jumped ahead. At the meeting, I only discuss 3 key points. My meetings go for 15 to 20 minutes. If your meetings are going for 2 hours, what's going to happen is these people are going to go home and they're not going to remember the key things that you want them to remember. So first of all, I talk about the fixed fees and the benefits of that. So the biggest benefit for me on the fixed fees is that my income isn't based on what your income is. So if you want to take the day off, I'm going to say, that's great, how can I help you? If I need to eat based on your income, I'm going to be pushing you to work you know, and so that's going to change the balance of our relationship. So I talk about fixed fees, I talk about pay for work guarantee, and then what I do is I tell them how much it is. So I create all the value, go, oh, our startup kit's amazing and training's amazing. And if you get through all that creating value and you tell them the price and they go, oh, is that all? You know you've done the right thing. If they go, oh, geez, that's a bit much, you haven't created a value. Most of you have been to franchisee training this week. What are you told about creating value? Yeah? Absolutely. And if they go, oh, that's too expensive, you didn't do your job right. Okay? They're not saying no, they're just saying, I can't see the value. So go back and create the value. Yeah? And so what I do, and then I say the price, and then I say, but let's not worry too much about the funds right now, because if you're not the right fit for Jim's Dog Wash, I don't want it to go any further. You need to get out in the trailer and have a trial day. That is the most important thing right now. And I always make a joke, and you make your own joke. But dog wash isn't like mowing, for example. You could hate grass and you could still have a really good business. Dog wash is a bit different. You can make your own little joke up there. I make a joke at your expense. Okay, but you have something like that and move straight from the price, because the price really doesn't matter. If it's 50,000 or 70,000, doesn't matter over the year if they've got a successful business. So the price isn't really the most important thing. You've got to educate them, and we did this, they said this at training yesterday, you've got to educate them about what's more important. You know, is the business, you know, the structure, the systems, the brand, the support, is that more important than $10,000 either side of what VIP are charging? So you've got to educate them. It's really not the important thing, okay? So next comes to the trial day, and that to me is the most important part. So what happens is, if you've done your good job at the top and your franchisee loves you, loves the system, has so much money and they're ridiculously happy, what they're going to do is that's going to show with the inquiry, and the inquiry is actually going to make a decision to buy the business. Do you see the difference? You haven't sold at any point. Okay, the franchisee is going to go out in the trailer and they're going to go, I can do this. Look how successful this franchisee is. Look how much money they're making. Look how happy they are. I can do this. And they're going to make that emotional decision to buy the business. And isn't that a much better sale? With no real work at all on your part. Okay, yeah. So I do a bit of a thing with, when I had my cleaning region, I didn't really need to pay a training, my trainers, I didn't really need to pay them. They used to just do it because they wanted to. Okay. In dog wash is a bit different, because there's a lot of franchisees that I've inherited, and they're a little not so keen to help out dog gyms. We're working on them. So I actually pay $500 if the person comes on board. I find that motivates them to get out and make a phone call. If this person comes on board, you're going to get $500. If they don't, you get nothing. So they're going to make sure that I want them to call my person. So what happens, I finish my meeting, and the first thing I do is send a text message to my trainer. I expect that trainer calls the inquiry within the hour to book in a trial day. That trial day needs to be no less than 3 days away. If you book it in next month, you might as well just throw it away. You're wasting your time. Okay? So my trainers know that. And my good trainers, they want to help me. They want to do the right thing, and they want to keep getting the money. They like that. So they're going to do these things that I ask them to do. So they call this person. Sometimes I haven't even driven out the street and they've already rung up and they're texting me saying, yep, that one's booked in. Okay? Then what they do, as soon as the trial day is over, they send me a text message. I give the franchisee a call, even when they're in the car on the way home, while they're really excited. How was it? Talk to me. Tell me what you want to do here. Most of the times they'll say, yep, I want to come on board. And so then I just get their deposit and book them in and sign them up. Just like that. And then it comes around here, and then they're a franchisee with a happy relationship with you. It all starts with the relationship with your franchisees. Okay? You want to do it anyway because you're a good person and you want to look after your guys, but it's going to help your sales substantially.
Can I ask, is it the dog wash, just as an example, is that an expensive outlay for the...
It's more expensive than clean. Oh, mind you. Cleaning, I used to sell 36.5 plus GST. In dog wash, see, we've got the trailer on top, so we've got a $25,000 trailer on top of whatever we sell our business for. So we try and keep it under the 50.
For both?
Yeah, for both of them.
The package. So
Yeah.
50 grand, and they're often running pretty much.
Yeah, but in my opinion, it doesn't matter what the price is.
Yeah.
If you've done that job properly, when I was in Sydney, I used to sell my franchises for 36.5. The rest of Sydney were selling them for 24. I had a 200% growth and they had, I don't know, negative something. So it doesn't matter what the price is. If you educate them properly, you know, if they can get a $20,000 loan, they can get a $30,000 loan, okay? The price isn't the most important thing, particularly when you can make that money back in a year as a franchisee.
Yeah.
And these guys can be so incredibly profitable.